Hello friends, welcome back. We are now going to read the Partition and Aftermath. We have already read India's Tryst with Destiny, and we are reading the chapter 1 of chapter 1, which is Partition and Challenges for Independent India. This is the Wajiram notebook for uh, post-independent issues. Okay, post-independent issues. So okay, now we will get back to our main topic, partition and its aftermath. British believe in fair play. They have left India in same condition of chaos as they found it, stated by Punjab official on violence due to partition of India. What British believe in fair play, they have left India in the same condition of chaos. I think it is a little bit of. I think it is a kind of sarcasm there. That British believe in fair play. They left India in the same condition of chaos as they found it. Who said it? Punjab official on violence due to partition of India. Okay, next. Did India have to be partitioned? Did India have to be partitioned? Why could not the unity of India be saved? According to historians, three different groups people should be blamed for partition. Okay, three different groups should be blamed for partition. British, British, Jinnah, and Congress. Now, why British? Firstly, the British are held responsible as they promoted a divide between Hindus and Muslims. They are held responsible because as they promoted a divide. Okay, the British did welcome and further the animosities between Hindus and Muslims. Okay, they welcome animosities between Hindus and Muslims. Um, in government employment, care was taken to balance number of Muslims and Hindu staff. In politics, the British introduced communal electorate, so Muslims voted exclusively for other Muslims. It was well known that they were playing the divide and rule game there. And why Jinnah is responsible? Secondly, Jinnah, once known as ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity, a practitioner of constitutional politics, pursued his personal ambition of a separate Muslim nation, regardless of human consequences. Uh, Jinnah was once known as the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. Who told him that he is ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity? I think Sarojini Naidu, and a practitioner of constitutional politics. Why can we say that he was the practitioner of constitutional politics? Because when Gandhiji, I think in the session of 1922, when Gandhiji decided to change the courts of Congress, that Congress will take the unconstitutional means, which is legitimate, principally legitimate, principled unconstitutional means or non-constitutional means. So he resigned from the Congress there. So he pursued his personal ambition of a separate Muslim nation, regardless of human consequences. From the late 1930s, he began to stoke religious passions by propagating the idea of Islam in danger. In a united free India under a Brahmin Baniya Raj. As late as 1927, the Muslim League had a mere 1300 members, but by 1944 it had more than half a million, 5 lakhs. Okay, in Bengal alone. In 1946 elections to the various provincial assemblies, Muslim League fought on the single issue of separate state for Muslims, which paid dividend. Okay, in the 1946 elections, the single agenda for the Muslim League was for the separate state for Muslims. Okay, this culminated in his calling for direct action day, which led to the violence and counter violence that made partition inevitable. Now, why Congress is responsible? But last but not the least, Congress leadership is blamed for underestimating Jinnah. In the 1920s, Gandhi ignored Jinnah and tried to make common cause with the Muslims. In 1930s, yeah, when did why? Where do you see that Gandhi ignored Jinnah? Gandhi ignored Jinnah, when he changed the principles of the Congress, that they will now take the non-constitutional means, which is morally right, or something. And Jinnah was not in favor of the Khilafat. Not necessarily Khilafat. He was not in favor of including the religion into the politics, and Gandhi included the uh, uh, Khilafat people into the national agenda. So he was the Gandhi and Jinnah were both divided at those points. So in 1920s, Gandhi ignored Jinnah and tried to make common cause with the Muslim. In 1930s, Nehru claimed that Muslim masses, instead of following a party based on faith, would rather follow his socialist ideology. So they were in Congress was underestimating, the Jinnah. Why? Because Gandhi ignored Jinnah. Then Nehru was, very, Nehru claimed that Muslim masses, instead of following a party based on faith, would follow the socialist ideology, which was incorrect. In the late 1930s, when Jinnah was willing to make a deal with the Congress, he was ignored. Okay, in late 1930s, where you can see, um, we'll see there. I cannot remember right now. Uh, why did partition cause so much? So much loss of life. Partition of India led to the communal violence, which led to 1 to 2 million deaths. Thus, 20 lakh. Apart from massive destruction of property, this impels us to ask one further question: if partition had to happen, did it necessarily have to cause so much loss of life? The There are three main reasons for this huge loss of life and property due to communal violence. What are the three reasons? Um, Advancing the date of freedom. Okay, advancing the date of freedom from June 1948 to 1947, August 1947. Inadequate troop deployment. Okay, postponement of Punjab boundary award until the date of independence. Okay, there were three main reasons for the loss of life. We'll now read it one by one. A. On 20th February 1947, Labour government in London announced that British would quit India by June 1948. Okay, on 3rd June, British Viceroy Mountbatten, while announcing the partition plan, suggested that the British would leave by middle of August 1947, that is in less than 10 weeks. Okay, the decision to hasten the British withdrawal was taken by Mountbatten himself, who believed that as partition has been announced, the longer time period before the transfer of power would worsen the tension and increase the communal violence. Okay, so he was of the opinion that if we'll, delay the partition, which is already announced, that it will, stoke the communal violence, because communal tension was already running high at the time, due to direct action day and communal politics by the leaders. But some contemporary observers felt that the over hasty withdrawal led to more rather than fewer deaths. It was poorly conceived idea to partition within 10 weeks a country of 30 million people, which had been governed as a unit for 100 years. Okay. Second cause for the loss of life was inadequate troop deployment. Historians have accused Mountbatten for his unwillingness to crack down effectively on communal violence. He is also criticized for understaffing the Punjab boundary force. Understaffing the Punjab boundary force to deal with the rioters, in spite of repeated demands by the then Punjab governor. Instead, the troops were busy guarding the European settlements, who believed that they would be attacked first when the partition and independence is announced. But in 1947, white people were the safest in India, and no one was interested in killing them. Third one, postponement of Punjab boundary award until the date of independence. Sir Cyril Radcliffe was ready with the Punjab boundary award on 9th August itself. Its announcement before independence would have allowed a movement of troops to be made in advance and would have reduced the risk of disorder. However, Mountbatten chose to make the award public only after 15 of August. He argued that if it is announced earlier, then the British would have to bear responsibility of the disturbance more. So we'll just quickly revise what we have read till now. Uh, Partition and aftermath. Partition. So what was a sarcastic comment there by the Punjab official there? The British believe in fair play. Okay, they left India in the same condition of chaos as they found. Okay, according to historians, three different groups should be blamed. Who? British, Jinnah, and Congress. British, Jinnah, and Congress. Why British is to be blamed? Britishers were to be blamed because they promoted divide and rule policy. Finish. Jinnah, he he was who once called the ambassador of Hindu Muslim unity, and practitioner of constitutional politics, pursued personal ambition over of a separate Muslim nation. Okay, and in pursuance of his personal ambition, he promoted communal ideology. From the late 1930s, he was propagating the idea of Islam in danger in a united free Brahmin Baniya Raj. In 1927, Muslim League had a 1300 members, but in 1944 they have half a million in Bengal alone. In 1946, Muslim League fought on the single issue of a separate state for Muslims. Then his call for a direct action day, which led to the violence. Okay, for Jinnah, Congress was underestimating Jinnah. In 1920s, Gandhi ignored Jinnah. In 1930s, this Nehru ignored the Jinnah's effect on the Muslim population, on the ideology of the Muslim population or the Muslim psyche. In late 1930s, when Jinnah was willing to make a deal with the Congress, I can remember now what he was saying must be that Simon Commission. No, Simon Commission came in 1927. So he's asking 1930s. 1930s about 1939. I think he is telling about the 1937 election. When Muslim League and that Congress fought for the elections of the provinces. So he was ignored. Why did partition cost so much of life? Partition of India led to the communal violence, which led to the 1 to 2 million deaths, apart from massive destruction of property. Why it happened? Why there's so much of life, loss of life was caused? Because three main reasons. Advancing the date of freedom was advanced from by 1 year, from June 1948 to 47, August 1947. So it was just 10 weeks were given from the announcement of the partition. So British was of the opinion that if they will delay the partition, then it will worsen the tension and increase communal violence. And inadequate troop deployment. Yeah, they were guarding the European settlements instead of guarding the people. And despite of the repeated demands made by the Punjab governor, postponement of Punjab boundary award until the date of independence. The Redcliffe, who was a cartographer, he was already ready with this Punjab boundary award by 9th of August itself. But the announcement was made after 15th of August. Because British do not wanted to take the responsibility on their shoulders of the mayhem they are going to create. Mayhem which is getting created, so they wanted to avoid the responsibility. They didn't want to bear the responsibility. So now next, okay, we'll finish it off here only. We'll continue later.